Welcome to the SwitchClicksPodcast, episode 57, and the first ever Zelda Month episode. For those who are not on the hype train, during the entire month of November, we'll be celebrating the Legend of Zelda series. This includes special podcast episodes like you're listening to right now that interview some of the greatest online creators. On top of the special podcast episodes, we'll be releasing Play It by Tier reviews on a handful of fan-favorite Zelda games every Sunday. And also on top of all that, we'll be streaming a complete game through of Ocarina of Time on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the celebration. Anyways, my name's Dakota and my co-host for the night is Nathan.
Hello.
And tonight is a very special episode, as we have some special guests, Daniel and Devin, who are the brains behind Buff Hestu. They're also the owners of the Zelda Creator Discord, but more on that later. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi.
Thank you for having us on.
Good to be here.
For those people who may be unfamiliar with your work, who are you, and what are your current projects?
We're brothers, so our voices might sound a little similar, but we'll try our best to make sure you know who's talking. So I'm Daniel.
And I'm Devin.
And Devin. So we're brothers. We work on a comic called Buff Hestu, and it's kind of a weird one. It's the character from Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity. Hestu, the guy who has the maracas, and he's like a tree. I think he's like a bonsai tree. I don't know.
He's styled in bonsai.
Yeah, he's like styled in a bonsai. And he, in Breath of the Wild, he gives you extra inventory slots. In Age of Calamity, he smacks people with maracas. And in our version of this comic, though, he's really jacked for some reason, which we can get into later because there's a question.
Yeah, there's a question about it.
We can get into that later as to why he's like that. So we both do that together. I kind of just like we write together. I kind of give Devin like a rough storyboard of what it's going to look like, and then Devin makes it look pretty. And the other thing that mostly I do, but Devin helps and mods, and we bounce ideas off each other too, is the Zelda Creators Discord and Twitter and Instagram. So that's very different than our Buff Hestu work. That one's more of like a community focused thing that's kind of supposed to highlight other people who are making stuff, art or crafts or music or podcasts.
Any art medium.
Yeah, any medium. It wasn't really supposed to be all about us, but the name Buff Hestu just keeps coming up in there, and people want us to do stuff for it.
And they want
That's
us
fine.
to do in every Zelda Creators advertisement.
Yes, every advertisement someone wants them to do, they're like, can we put Buff Hestu? And I'm like, okay, we don't need to. Like, you totally don't need to do that, but like, if you want.
But kind of a mascot.
You can't blame me on that. He's becoming a mascot for that too. It's weird. It's just weird to me because it's like it was supposed to be something that was
completely separate.
Yeah, like we were trying to like really differentiate it from there, but I don't know, like it carried over.
It's
cool. It's cool that it did.
Popular of a character now.
Yeah, it's cool that it did. It's just I was trying to keep it separated, aside from the fact that I was using the Buff Hestu account to originally promote it, but
yeah, and we might as well bring up the one question at the very end. We might as well just bring it up now. The original character that you guys have, each time it comes up on my timeline, it's hilarious. Just a buff version of like a fictional that's normally like a little bit bigger character is hilarious. How do you guys? I know you just said you had a story for it.
Yeah, I can tell that. I love telling that story. So it was last Christmas that we were playing Age of Calamity for the first time. And just to clear it up, there's like minor spoilers if anyone's listening that hasn't played Age of Calamity. It's not really a big spoiler, but eventually when you're playing through the game, you unlock Hestu, and you can play as him. And when we played as him, we were like pumped. We were like, oh man, we get to play as Hestu, because we didn't know. We had no idea that
he's
Hestu
a living tree.
Yeah, we had no idea that we were going to get a fight as a tree. And we played as him, and we both kind of like stopped like halfway through, and we're like, he sucks. Like, regular Hestu sucks. He's not a very good character.
I can easily relate.
Yeah, he just, I don't know, he was slow, and he wasn't very fun to play compared to the other characters. And I know a lot of people online who I've told this story to, they usually counter me with like, oh no, he's great. You're just, you guys are the ones that suck.
But I don't think, no.
I don't think so. Like, we're pretty darn good at that game. If I'm tooting my own horn. So we made this joke, and I honestly still don't remember how it came up. But there's a feature in the game called Military Training Camp, and it's just a you send your character to military training camp to upgrade them to make them level up faster, like pretty much instantly, and you pay for it with the in-game currency. And we made this joke about Hestu going to military training camp and then coming back jacked and like the strongest character. And then some point I was like, Devin, you got to draw that, and he drew it, and I don't know why we made a comic out of it though.
Oh my gosh.
I still don't remember why the comic actually started. Maybe you remember?
No, I don't remember why the comic started. I remember drawing. I drew the first picture. I still have that picture, but it's never been seen.
That's the one where he's flexing both of his biceps, right?
Yeah. It's very different than how he actually looks now. But yeah, and there's two different color styles too, because that's also when I learned how to do watercolor.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember so much about it, but I don't remember why the comic got made.
Yeah,
I remember making the comic. I remember posting the comic.
Yeah, I'm still not sure where that idea came from. Was to make it out of, the idea of making it into a comic. I still don't remember where that came from, but I remember the origin of why we made him buff.
Usually when I draw a character, at least before Buff Hestu, when I draw a character like that, it'd be fortunate for that character if they ever got drawn again. But Buff Hestu, I've drawn him so many times that I don't need to look at a picture of him anymore to draw him. No, for some reason we decided to make it a comic. We decided to post it, and now it's everything.
Yeah.
The only thing we
never stopped for some reason.
Every day I'm working on new comics, new art.
New comics on Buff Hestu. Anything kind of in that style of Rocky training montage?
The
origin story.
That'd be funny. Isn't it? I always get a little confused with Rocky, but you're the one. Is that the one where he runs up the stairs and yells the guy's name?
Yes, he goes, Drago!
Yeah. We could do one where he runs up the stairs and yells Ganon.
Get
it! He's holding his
until now, no, there's never been a thought of that.
I'll be waiting that on my timeline.
Who would train him, though? That's the question. Who would be
that is a good question. Some random stranger, regular-sized Hylian knight.
You could just be standing in front of a mirror.
Standing in front of a mirror.
just training himself.
That's something that Buff Hestu would totally do, though. But at that point, he's just regular Hestu, though.
Oh, that's true. We'd have to do that. Mm-hmm. We'd have to do that.
I think it'd be funny if it was somebody who was extremely, extremely small, and the exact opposite of Buff Hestu, like Robbie or Pura.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
It makes no sense as to how it works, but...
Now, seeing as how you've drawn Buff Hestu several times, what got you into drawing comics in the first place? And what sort of things kind of inspired you to do so?
So that would be a Devin question.
It's a bit of a story. I got injured in last October. I got an injury to my hand last October, and that got me. I've been off work since then.
Gosh.
And it was shortly after. I didn't have anything to do after I got injured because I couldn't do anything with my hand. It was that bad. But I like to do things, and one of the things I used to do was I draw on paper, but I can't hold a pencil. I can't hold a pencil anymore. So it was shortly after the initial injury that I discovered Ibis Paint X on my phone. And so I started using that. And that's when I got the idea to make a silly comic as a gift for Daniel for Christmas. So from October until December 24th, I was making a comic. Not Buff Hestu, had nothing to do with Zelda. It was all my own original stuff. Maybe one day it'll get seen. But I worked on it from October all the way up to December 4th, creating this comic. And during that time, I learned how to make comics on Ibis. I really learned how to use Ibis Paint X. And I was able to taught myself how to draw with my hand again. Though I don't use a pencil, I just use my finger. I finger paint pretty much. Everything.
All that.
Yeah,
really?
Everything that I do is pretty much finger paint.
Finger painting. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks really impressive.
I think I'm the only person who uses their finger for Ibis. Everyone else uses pens. But yeah, so after Christmas, I didn't do anything, but I still had that comic, and I had all the knowledge of how to use Ibis and how to make a comic. And I ended up getting a phone at Christmas that was a little bit bigger.
Mhm.
The phone I used to make the first comic was tiny. It's crazy how small it was, like a juice box.
Oh yeah, it was
Like
like
a screen was
an
like the size
iPhone
of a
4
juice
or
box.
something.
Yeah.
Teeny.
Mhm.
How did? Oof.
That was
Must
not
have been really
Buff
tough.
Hestu though that you
No,
made. That was
that was the
your
other comic.
your original
Yeah.
comic.
That was
Yeah, so the new phone that I have, that I'm still using, makes it it's a lot bigger and it's a lot easier to make comics. So I had nothing to do, and then we decided to make the Buff Hestu comic, and now I haven't stopped making Buff Hestu. I did try doing another comic as well.
Yes.
Nonsensical comics. It was just,
Mhm.
it's very small. Probably no one ever knows, probably nobody knows about it. I don't do it anymore because I'm too busy with Buff
That's
Hestu, but
That's not Zelda related.
no, it's not Zelda.
That was just your
Yeah, that was just random
own little
things.
random stuffs.
It was random things that just came to my mind. Made no sense, but that was the joke.
Yeah. So when you guys first like released your, I guess your first comic for Buff Hetsu, um, what kept you going? Like, why did you make more of?
I can answer that one. Well, we posted. I think the first one we only posted to Reddit
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah.
I think we posted it on both the just the basic Zelda subreddit and then the Breath of the Wild subreddit. And I remember we posted it like pretty late in the day, like it was like 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we had never posted like online content before, so we didn't really think much of it. And I remember coming back a few hours later, and it had like close to 1,000 like upvotes, and we were just like blown away, and we are like, "Holy cow! Like, how did this happen?" Right? And I wouldn't say that's viral anymore
At the time.
Like certainly we've had stuff do far better
Mhm.
since then. But that's never really been our concern. Like our concern's never been how many upvotes something gets. But it was just really like encouraging to see
All the feedback.
yeah, all that. And there was a couple of comments in there I remember that were people heckling, and they're like, "Oh, this comic sucks." And I remember typing back to them, "You suck."
Well, somebody said
it was just the humor that we were trying to go with, because originally we were really playing like the role that Buff Hestu himself was controlling the account.
Yeah.
And we still kind of do that, but we're since doing Zelda Creators now, like we're a lot more open with our personal selves. But yeah, there was just we got a lot of upvotes. I think at the end of the next day, it was like close to 2,000 at that point. And
fast.
Well, it's just like I said, like we've never really concerned ourselves too much with like how many likes or something.
Yeah,
like that. Like we've never concerned with that. But it was just like kind of a very exciting moment for being the first thing we ever posted to kind of gain traction that quickly.
You do so well.
Yeah, and like I said, there was a few comments in there that were people just being negative trolls, but there was also a ton of comments in there with people being like, "Oh, make more," and I don't know, we just started making more. And originally we were doing like 3 a week.
Yeah.
Then we had to cut it back. We couldn't do 3 a week anymore.
No.
Yeah, that was hard.
Getting more and more intense with the backgrounds and everything. So
yeah,
it takes about, on average, maybe 17 to 20 hours to do a comic. Sometimes
a full
more.
day.
Yeah. It's because he's using his finger, right?
Like that's true.
Like if Devin was able to hold the pen, he could probably get it done way quicker. But because he's using his finger, he's basically zooming in on all the pixels.
Yeah,
and like doing it pixel by pixel by pixel, one stroke at a time.
Not all of it. Sometimes I get a nice big line.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky, but
Buff Hestu, I can draw normal size screen no matter what. I zoom in a little bit, but
yeah, that's because you have so much practice now, right? Yeah, originally I remember watching you like
the part that really takes time with these comics is coloring, especially when there's multiple characters. Mm-hmm. For example, Suga and Master Koga. They take forever. You look at them and you think they're mostly just colored red and black. There's so many different shades of red and black, and then yellow, and it's insane. It took me forever. I think it took me 10 hours alone to color them.
I remember when you did that one.
To just to color those two in one comic. and I was saying Suga was in 3 panels, and then Master Koga was in 2. It was insane. More characters, more time.
Hey, the payoff is really great. The payoff is amazing.
But people love it
yeah.
when Suga shows up.
Yeah, no, we love reading people's comments on there, and we get a lot of positive feedback and everything now.
Pokemon cards are really hard to find nowadays. PokeNerds always has Pokemon cards in stock. Use code SwitchClicks for 5% off your entire order. Using this code helps us make the content that you're listening to.
It's fun.
Now, I'm sure you'll say that you'll love Hestu, but what do you love about the Zelda series, and what part, like, how has the series kind of influenced your life aside from Buff Hestu?
For me personally, like, I'd have to go back, 'cause I kind of struggle with my first Zelda memory, whether it was Ocarina of Time or if it was Wind Waker. I think it was technically Ocarina of Time, but I didn't play a whole lot of it. Because it was we got it on the GameCube thing, on the
Collector's edition.
The collector's edition for the GameCube.
Oh, lucky
back when that
you.
I don't have it anymore. I wish I still had that one.
It was.
But yeah, I remember we got it then, and I think we put Ocarina of Time first. Back then, we were young. Like, I think I must have been like 10. I'm not sure when that came out exactly. So like my patience were thin back then for that. But Wind Waker was really appealing to me, and Wind Waker, I'm pretty sure we didn't have Wind Waker right away. I think we only had the demo that came on the collector's edition.
Yes.
Wind Waker was really appealing to me because it was cartoony. And I know back then a lot of people really didn't like that. Like, they wanted the more serious Zelda game. But I didn't know any better. I had no idea, and you definitely didn't know any better either.
No,
you were younger than me. So.
It was a video game, and I was a child, so I played it.
Yeah, Wind Waker was just way more appealing because it was cartoony, and the demo that came on the collector's disc, I remember it was only like 20 minutes. Like, you could play 20 minutes, and I flew through it every time. Like, I could get through the Wind Waker demo. I couldn't beat it, obviously, but I could get like pretty darn far in that Wind Waker demo because I played it over and over and over again.
Well, the one I remember, because it starts you off on Windfall, you managed to get outside the boss door in Dragon Roost before it cut you off. I remember.
Yes, I remember the boss door in Dragon Roost. You just get there and then it would shut down from that. And eventually we got Wind Waker, and I think Wind Waker is by far, well, actually next to Breath of the Wild now, Wind Waker is are the one that we played the most of. And I guess Wind Waker really started, I'm guessing both of us, really started both of us on the whole Zelda train back then. And then I remember there was a bit of a lull because there was a point where didn't really have many consoles back when I was like a teenager. But then I got a job and I bought a Wii, and I remember shortly after Skyward Sword came out, and I had Skyward Sword, the one that had the disc. What's it called? The CD, the music CD.
Oh, the soundtrack, like the special soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember I burned all the music from the CD onto my computer and then onto my iPod when I was in the 12th grade then. And I was just that dude sitting on the bus all morning long in the cold, listening to the Ballad of the Goddess.
That is an amazing song.
It was that's a great memory. Just I didn't even want to sit with other kids on the bus because they would have interrupted the Ballad of the Goddess. It was like, I want to sit my own. I don't want to talk to anybody else. It's 7:30. Just want to listen to Ballad of the Goddess in the Gerudo Desert theme, all orchestrated by some dude. I don't remember what his name is. But yeah, that was my story with it. And then, after high school, I don't know, I had a lot more time to play video games. And then Breath of the Wild came out, and that was very exciting. That's my story. I don't know if yours is any different.
Well, I guess kind of.
It's probably somewhat similar.
Yeah. The whole origins with Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild, or Skyward Sword and everything is the same. But what I think for me, because Wind Waker is, in a way, I think it was a really good first Zelda game to really get into, because it's so open and it's adventurous. That's fun. That's what it's about. It's the adventure, right? And when I was a kid, I still am very creative. So having all that freedom really allowed my mind to go crazy. And I don't remember any of the scenarios I used to have in my mind when I played that game. But I remember I would sit there. I wouldn't even do the story or anything. I would just play on the level
Yes.
that Daniel had already done. And I'd go through and just let my mind would go crazy with all these different scenarios as I played. And it allowed my mind to go crazy, and then I created my own stuff as I drew. And I just really think Zelda, the openness and adventure behind Zelda really helps the creative mind go wild, like I said. And my thing is making characters. I love to make characters, and Zelda really allowed me to it inspired me in a way to create more unique characters, and that's sort of why I really like Zelda. Anytime I go on to Zelda, it gives me ideas of new things to draw, new characters to create.
It just so happens that both of your first games was also the first games that the Koroks appeared in as well.
That's true.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
It was
Never
What are the
Destiny.
odds?
Yeah, never really
Destiny,
thought about
exactly.
That's number 2 for Destiny.
I guess while you play Zelda and you're thinking about this comic, I don't know. You probably play more Zelda nowadays. Now they have this comic, I guess. Does anything in the games, like the scenarios that you put yourself in the game, do they inspire a comic every once in a while, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When pretty much ever since we started doing this, anytime I go back and play Breath of the Wild, I refer to it as research.
Yeah,
We're doing research. Yeah. No, I pretty much refer to it as research, and there's certainly quite a few. I can't think of any of them right now. There's quite a few comics that have been based off of things that have happened. Like maybe not story wise in Breath of the Wild, but things that have like popped up and happened while we were playing. Like, we're kind of both just goofballs when it comes to playing a video game. So like we'll change the dialogue to suit like our own little dumb ideas and stuff like that. And we'll do dumb voices. Like if you ever go watch our streams, like we do a lot of dumb voices when we're doing that.
like Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, like when we were doing Skyward Sword there. What's his name? What's his real name?
Headmaster Gabe Hora.
Yeah, Headmaster Gabe Hora's voice was Kermit the Frog for some reason. And we kept changing the dialogue. So instead of him saying like, Zelda is this is just an example. I don't think we actually said this, but like instead of him saying like, "Oh, Zelda's fallen to the floor beneath Skyloft," it was like Zelda's on the Muppet Show.
Yeah,
right. He's on the audience of the Muppet Show. It's like so. Definitely, a lot of those types of scenarios have happened that have made their way into the comics, and I think the origin story of Buff Hestu himself that we explained, like that's a great example of us just kind of going back and forth while playing. Yeah, we're just vamping back and forth, making jokes to each other about how he's going to go to military training camp and come back the best character. It influenced the series, like the comic series in the whole.
Give birth to the series.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't think of a comic off the top of my head right now. But there's definitely been times where we do that, and we're playing, and maybe it's not necessarily part of the story of the game, but we kind of just start saying stupid things back and forth to each other. We give a character, maybe like an NPC, like a backstory that is not canon at all, right? And then that just makes its way in. Actually, I think the one with Rivali was the one where the dude who wants the crickets. I think we made that joke while we were playing one day.
I don't remember. I remember
about how he was feeding the crickets to Rivali or something like that.
I feel like the Zora one, the first Zora one with Muzu making the armor for Buff Hestu was done.
Yes, you're totally right.
When we were playing.
Yeah, that was one for sure. There's a comic where Buff Hestu goes to Zora's domain and King Dorphan tells him that there's a problem, that every Zora has made him a piece of armor because they intend to marry him. And then Muzu has also made him armor. That's one of our comics, and that definitely came up. We were just playing casually one day, and we got to that part where they're supposed to be telling him about the rain coming down, and Muzu's like, "Oh, don't give him, the Zora armor. That's not for him." Yeah, and that was definitely one we we kind of just vamped off each other and made that happen.
Kind of just jumped to the complete opposite thing where there was too much.
So, what specific like pieces of media influence you? Like movies, TV shows, whatever. Maybe just like whatever you like to watch. What are your favorite stuff?
You might have more information on that, Devin.
Really anything. Another example of, an example of media that influences us is the Muppets for Gaypora, the Terminator for Zelda.
Yes.
We made
Whoa,
Zelda
whoa.
the Terminator.
We made Zelda's voice we made Zelda's voice the Terminator when we were doing our Skyward Sword stream.
The Zelda-nator.
He was the Zelda-nator.
Out of my way.
I think in general though, like when we were like kids, like really, really young, all we did was watch cartoons and draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like watch cartoons every day and draw.
And go
And you guys are from Canada as well, like we are. So you guys might remember
Canadians.
like Teletoon, right?
Oh boy,
Yeah.
yes.
You guys remember
yes.
Teletoon? I don't know if it's still on TV or not.
Oh, yeah.
I think it is.
I don't know. We don't have
It is.
cable. We got Netflix.
Me neither.
Now,
Me neither.
but yeah, we'd sit there and we'd watch Teletoon, and then it'd be like Ninja Turtles. I think was super influential on us back
on
then.
Kapow.
Yeah, on Kapow. And what else did we watch? We watched Mega Man, and I remember back then I didn't know Mega Man was a video game.
Yeah,
I just thought it was a cartoon. But I'm trying to think what other cartoons I can't think right now.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob for sure.
Danny
Yes.
Phantom.
Oh my god, SpongeBob is probably like a huge influence on our humor.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, Giriam was Patrick.
You're right.
They voiced Giriam as Patrick.
Giriam was voiced as Patrick. You're right. But yeah, I think just like old childhood cartoons were really influential on our humor, but also like I don't really draw so much. Devin does most of the drawing, so Devin's art style too, probably because you're very big on the clean, professional looking lines. We had that discussion the other day.
Yes,
and then this stuff still carries over today. Like the other day, we started watching Recess for some reason.
Well, because it was a good episode.
Yeah, we found an episode of Recess, and we are like, let's watch Recess.
Yeah.
And we're like adults now. Just never really changed. Like we've always just been really into cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, cartoon's a cartoon. I'm gonna watch it no matter what age. I'll be 80 and I'll still be watching cartoons.
Be watching SpongeBob in my rocking chair.
Yeah, 4 kids.
It'll probably still be running by the time.
There's like 20-something years of SpongeBob now. I'm pretty sure if it's this far, it's going further.
I think my favorite of the comics is the one with the chicken, where you guys are beating up, like the buff chicken.
Buff chicken.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, that was okay.
Cuckoo,
that one was really weird. Like
Yeah.
I have no idea where that idea came from.
It was it's not theory, but a statement of when an immovable object or when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Yes,
and we compared that to Buff Hestu and the Cuckoos.
Yes, I remember that. I just don't remember where I got the idea from. I just woke up one day and I was like, we should just draw Buff Chicken and that'll be like the new thing. Right, and then for some reason we did 3 comics with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird. I remember being that was actually one where I was kind of nervous about posting it because I was like, man, this is really weird. Like we just gave a chicken a giant buff body,
and it just came out of nowhere too. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and it came out of blue. It was like okay, people are either gonna love this or gonna hate it, and I think for the most part, like I don't think anyone hated it.
No, they seemed to love it. It was
how could you hate it?
Chicken, yeah,
you hate it. Like that just sums up the Cuckoo Revenge Squad.
Yeah,
any Zelda game.
I remember a very small part of the inspiration of that one was I'm actually just pulling it up right now so I can see it in front of me. I'm trying not to make my mouse click.
Next one.
Is the next one?
Yeah, that one.
This one. Okay. Wait, isn't this the second one?
No, well, that's the first one, but he becomes buff in the second one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
they share their power.
the last panel, it's actually a reference to that meme where the 2 buff dudes are beating up like the little guy that has the opinion. The 2 buff dudes start laughing. What's it called, Devin? Do you know what that meme's called?
I don't remember. I think I just typed in beat up meme and I got it. It's on Reddit all the time.
Yeah,
it means all the time.
It was a reference to that meme.
Yeah, there it is.
You found it? Here, I can put it in the chat for you. This one. Here it is. And then I know the viewers
It's
can't
just
see
called
it, but
guy getting beat up blank template.
maybe you guys can.
Oh, I remember this meme.
Yeah, it was a reference to that meme where the dude's beating up like that loaf of bread dude, or this little rectangular dude. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, that one did come from a little inspiration from a meme.
Yeah,
Just a
you guys are
tiny
kind
bit.
of you guys are in depth in the meme culture. I found one here on your Instagram. I don't know how to describe what's the meme. The guy, he's on a swing, then he's in a chair, then he's standing in the middle of the road by
Oh,
himself.
that's Sad
like a
Pablo.
depression thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pablo Escobar.
Sad Pablo, yeah.
And
That's
that's
from
hilarious
Pablo
too.
Escobar's TV show.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we've done a few. I think I can't remember. There's another one that has a meme reference in it too.
Yeah, there's a few.
But,
I don't remember though.
like
It's
one
great
of the
Easter egg
rules
content.
of
Yeah,
well, that's what we want. We love that stuff,
I
going
love-
Easter egg hunting in a video game or something.
Yeah.
So
I love hiding stuff in comics.
yeah, there's stuff hidden in all of them that a lot of
Every-
people haven't noticed.
Every single comic has something hidden in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think only 3 people have ever noticed, and they've been very quiet about it as well. So other people weren't even alerted, and still to
Mhm.
this day, things are still being hidden in every comic.
It was kind of. I don't want to elaborate on it too much because eventually
it's a
people
secret.
catch on. But it's to be fair, it has been like 9 months, and 3 people have only somewhat figured out what we're talking about. But we like to keep little secret hidden things in each of them, at least in one panel. It has to be at least one panel.
Yeah,
They're not in every single panel of a comic, but at least one of them.
I also really like your Animal Crossing one.
Oh yeah,
right now.
that one's actually right up in front of me. My computer screen froze, but yeah, we did that one with Nadine Farcrossing. She is a good friend of ours.
Yes.
She
Very
helped
good.
us out a lot at the very beginning, like kind of guide the world of posting content online. She reached out to us and she wanted to make the costume, so she made the costume for her own account. And a couple months later, we were like, let's make a comic with it. And she's Purah. She played the role of Purah. We actually went over to her island and made that comic with her.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, that was a fun little event that we did.
It's insanely creative because you also have the eyes in the painting in the house.
Yeah, that's her.
Yep.
That was her house. That was her Animal Crossing house at the time.
She edited some of the photos for us too. Like if you're looking at it, the mask that the Hestu character in the middle is wearing, that's not something you can get in Animal Crossing. She edited that on for us.
Yeah,
She just
and
got the nose.
Is that green afro hair?
yeah, green afro hair. Yeah, no, she was great. She helped us kind of navigate Instagram at the early point of us doing this because originally we were like pretty much solely on Reddit, and we had the Instagram, but we weren't using it. And then she messaged us and was like, "Oh, I can show you how to like use this stuff," and we are like, "Great."
Yeah, I think she messaged us 3 days after our first post.
It was early.
Mhm.
Like it was very early on, and we've stayed in touch with her, and we we help each other out where we can. She has assisted us with the Zelda Creators Discord as well.
Perfect. Speaking about Zelda Creators, it's really grown in the past few months. I think I've seen it pretty much from the beginning. And the SwitchClicks is proud to be a part of your community there. What are your thoughts on where it's at right now, and where do you see it going?
I think it's pretty crazy how well it's been received. Like, I had no doubt that it was going to do well eventually. I just didn't think it was going to be, within like 3 months that it was going to have a couple hundred members. I didn't think that.
What's
I
funny
think it's nearing
is
200.
Yes, I think we are at it tells you like 196 as of right now.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I figured eventually that we'd probably gain some traction. It gained traction like really quick, and that's a lot of that's thanks to our mods. If I can pull up here, I can shout them out quick. Like, Tina has been like really helpful to us. She came over from our personal Buff Hestu server, and helped us out. Same with Pixel Toad. Devin. Devin's Discord name is 10 Centano. And then we brought in like Chara, Flute, Joey J, Rach, TCU. Like they're all like creators as well.
And Alive.
Oh, and sorry, and Alive Gamer. Yes, and Alive Gamer. I'm sorry, Alive. I missed you there.
And did you get Raikou as well?
Raiku's in Buff Hestu.
Oh, I thought I saw it on.
But yeah, they've all been really greatly involved, and I don't think a lot of people see that because they do it in like private mod chats. But they're the ones that come up with a lot of like the really engaging ideas, and they're the ones that make it happen because I can't be here all the time, and we're all in different times, and so like they're the ones that really make a lot of the stuff happen on there happen. Like yeah, me and Devin deal with like the advertising of it, and we're kind of the face on it, I guess you could say. But they really make a lot of the more noble things happen, which is crazy. Like I just want to let that be clear that they're all super great. They all help make the community really great. As for where I'm thinking it's going to go, I certainly don't think it's going to go down.
No.
I think we're going to continue growing. Like I know, like right now, it's hovering just below 200. It's been hovering just below 200 for a little while. But we do the creator feature every Wednesday, and we do little mini projects. Like I know Dakota was involved in the Twitter banner project that we were doing, and I believe you made Dompy, right?
Dampe, let's go.
Dampe, yes. I thought you made Dampe. Yeah, so like those ideas, will be coming back eventually. Like we're gonna do more community building type things to get people involved. And when we did that Twitter banner project, that was when we had like less than 100 people, I think.
Yeah, that was one of our first things.
Yeah, like that was one of our first things. We had less than 100 people in the server, in the community doing that, and now we have probably more than double from when we started that.
Yep.
So I think the more we just keep doing these community project type things, the more we're going to grow. And like I've said before, even I said it in regards to like upvotes and likes, I've never really concerned myself too much with numbers. I try not to focus on how many likes or people are joining. It's more like trying to focus on like the quality of the content or the service that we're doing. So I think as long as we can I think as long as we keep continuing doing that, then it's just gonna get bigger. People seem to enjoy it, so
it's a good community.
Yeah, we like doing it.
Yeah, it's all around the common love of Zelda too.
Yeah.
Like you're only at nearly 200 people. There are millions of people that you can share your content with everywhere.
Yeah, certainly.
Even having a community that small is a benefit to anybody.
200 people is a lot of people. You can't fit 200 people in this house.
No. Yeah, no, 200 people is a lot of people. And like,
but your
your
community has certainly grown really fast too.
Yes. Yes, it jumped up surprisingly quick, where like I kind of had like ideas of how many mods that we wanted per like a ratio, like how many
milestone
mods we wanted. Yeah, and like we have like 12 mods now. I remember we started with like 4 people, and it jumped up really quick. Like I know we've been having a lot of fun with it too, so I think really it got started in technically August. Like it existed in July, but it didn't really get started till August. So I know it's been like 3 months, but still, like I was blown away at the reception of it and how quickly people like latched onto it and have wanted to be a part of this community. Like, I didn't realize that there was a need for it out there. I was just doing it for fun,
especially with current events going on. Like there was no E3 is barely a thing nowadays.
Yeah,
and having that creator con really helped out the community.
Yeah, that was through Joel in October. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was where we met a lot of people through.
I believe you popped into our chat during our panel.
Yes, I was.
I think you even asked about making a community, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't remember what I asked, but I definitely did pop in, and you guys were taking questions, so I threw a question in there for you. I don't remember what I asked though.
I think it was something about the opinion on if making a community was a good idea. You ended up doing it
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
so and it
Yeah, we
worked.
did anyways. The actual like original purpose of the Zelda Creators community was we did a we just did like a little fun like art showcase back in July, and we just contacted a bunch of like people that we had been watching like their art, and or we knew them, and we did like a little Twitch stream where we just showcased their art for like an hour. I think it was just under an hour actually.
Yeah, it was an hour.
So it started there, and then like more and more people wanted to get involved, so we started inviting more and more people, and then we just opened it up, and we're like, everybody can join, go for it. We haven't done another art showcase yet, but we are looking into that for the future. It was fun. A lot of people really enjoyed that one too.
Mm-hmm.
It just that one wasn't as well known of an event because that was the very first earliest thing we did when we opened that server.
And it was more select. Like we went out and we asked people to be
Yeah.
part of it, and then those were the people who watched it. Really.
Yeah, and then like a few people like caught wind that we were doing because we didn't have like I wouldn't even say we have like a huge personal following right now, but we had like less than the following on our personal Buff Hestu accounts then, so it was very, very small. It was fun, but that was like the first thing we did with that server.
Yeah. Maybe one last question, unless Nathan has one. What's your favorite Zelda game?
Oh God.
How many have you played? Have you played all of them, or?
No, I've not played all of them.
I haven't played all of them either. Don't worry.
There's too many. Like eventually, one day we will. But we've played all the major ones, like
the main ones.
Like
yeah, the main
3D ones.
Definitely played all. I think we played all 3D ones. Actually, I haven't played that one where Link dresses up.
Majora's Mask.
No. It was on
could
3DS.
be like 8 of them. What?
Yeah,
wait,
he like dresses up in like costumes and dresses in that one. There's the
Triforce Heroes. Is that
Triforce Heroes? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Never played that one.
Well, I left that. I don't like that game at all.
Oh, you don't like that one?
No,
I've heard mixed reviews of that one. I've definitely put more hours into Breath of the Wild than any other Zelda game, but I kind of Wind Waker just because I got more memories with Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, nostalgia.
Yeah.
All the nostalgia.
I want to say Wind Waker. The Wind Waker was really like the first game that I played that had like I know a lot of people would argue this, but a giant map. Like I know that most of it was water, and it wasn't much in the water, but like sailing through it was still really fun for me, even back then. So
still a pretty giant open world.
Yeah.
It captures the feeling of being a real pirate.
Yeah, I felt like a pirate. Yeah, I have to say, I'm gonna say Wind Waker, but it's really close. It's a really close tie with
really
Breath of the Wild.
close.
Yeah,
with Breath of the Wild.
I think the only reason it's maybe a little bit above Breath of the Wild is because it was technically like the first Zelda game that I really enjoyed, and then like we had discussed earlier, it just got a lot of nostalgia to it for us. And that's the only thing. Other than that, it's super close to Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'd probably say the same thing for the same reasons. Wind Waker has, I think, the best story. I love the story of Wind Waker. I love all the characters, all the bosses, everything.
Got the best Ganondorf.
Yeah, the best Ganondorf.
That's maybe a controversial. That's a controversial topic.
He's got the nicest beard.
Personal favorite.
I can agree to that.
Yeah, he's got the nicest beard. I love his swords too. I wanted to carve his swords out of wood, but they're so long. You can't. You need a really long piece of wood for that.
Shape right too.
Yeah.
The shaping of it. Oh,
the shaping wouldn't be that hard, but yeah, no, I don't know. I love that Ganondorf. But yeah, I'd probably say Wind Waker. But the adventure in Breath of the Wild, being able to go anywhere you want, whenever you want, I love that too. So I'd say for a story, it'd be Wind Waker. For adventure, it's Breath of the Wild. But I still do love, like I said, adventuring in Wind Waker, though.
Yeah, it kind of brings that different experience that you just don't get from any other Zelda game.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if in the Breath of the Wild sequel, I don't want to deviate too much, but in the Breath of the Wild sequel, they could bring back some of the Wind Waker elements with boats.
Please bring back boats.
We've discussed that too, actually.
I want my boat to speak again.
pay for the boats using real money. Yikes.
Ouch, that's gonna be painful.
It would give you something more to
Yeah,
use your money for.
It would give you something to use money on.
True. I mean,
That's
you
true.
did buy a motorcycle in the first game, so
Yeah.
Yeah, anything's on the table now.
anything's on the table now.
Fantastic. Well, I guess this will be the end. Thank you guys for coming on the show. This
Thank
was
you.
actually
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
interesting.
thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was fun. Never was on a podcast before.
Yeah, our
It's my
first
podcast.
Did you
That's
guys
proud.
have anything you want to plug? Or
Um,
I
Promote
guess you've been
anything.
plugging all the
well,
time, but
Zelda
It could be in the
Creators.
description as well.
yeah,
you
we'll
know,
link it.
Feel
go
free.
to Zelda Creators. You can look that up on Twitter or Instagram, and then I'm not going to even try and tell you what the Discord link is because that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. The Discord link is in the bios of those. And then that's fun. Like if you just want like general Zelda creator stuff, if you want to go view art or music or videos that people make about Zelda, Zelda Creators is definitely the place to go for that. As we discussed this whole podcast, it's growing quickly, so there's always something new popping up there, especially during Linktober. It's been really busy during Linktober, and I think November will be busy too with everybody doing Zelda Month. And then next year you got Breath of the Wild 2, possibly.
Oh my god!
There's gonna be even more stuff to talk about on there. And then aside from that, just I guess our own comics like Buff Hestu.
Yeah,
If you
that Buff
want
Hestu
more of
video.
if you want more of like a niche Zelda experience and like you like things that are buff,
Like
then
big buff
that's
trees.
that's your thing. If that's your thing, then there's a comic about that.
You ever looked at a tree and just said, "Hey, that would look a lot better if it had two massive arms
And abs.
That's
actually my experience with like every tree I walk by now. I'm like, that tree doesn't have abs. I'm not
Well,
interested.
we just got a little bonsai tree, and it's right here beside us. But it's unfortunate.
It's not buff.
Yeah,
no,
it's
it doesn't
not
have
buff
any
at all.
abs. Like I don't know what the
Oh.
heck this tree is good for if it doesn't have abs.
Not
Just take
yet.
it to the military training camp.
Yeah, it's bring it to
Yeah.
military training camp. But yeah, that's all I would plug. Just the two.
And I guess if you wanted to come see my my art as well, my personal art,
That's true. Yes.
my characters, 10-cent Dino on Instagram or Twitter. I do post some Zelda related stuff. Like I designed a character. I forget his name. Barrett,
Oh,
the
yes.
Deku marksman. I did that. I created him
Oh.
for another. I don't know if you two have seen it before. I've posted him, but yeah, I made him for another artist's comic that they're making. And then I have another Zelda-related character who I'm going to be releasing soon as well, that I'm also working on that one. And another character who I'm just kind of fiddling around with as I learn manga style.
A lot of characters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're moving on to
Yeah, I'm learning manga. I'm learning tricks. I got a manga line art pen on Ibis, so it's interesting. It's very interesting how that works. So I'm making a character based off everything I've learned and as I learn. But yeah, you can come check all that stuff out at 10-cent Dino.
Perfect. Yeah, everything will be linked in the YouTube description, and also put it in the Spotify. And if you're listening through audio, it'll be in the description. Well, thank you guys for joining us. It was an amazing experience hearing your love for the Zelda series and how you share it through your comics. We would love it if you could follow us on Twitter and listen to future episodes on Spotify and iTunes. Join our community Discord server to continue today's discussion, and we'll see you next time on the SwitchClicksPodcast.